Today, I, the Poke Player, will be presenting the top 10 Pokemon with the most aura. But before we even get into this top 10 list, we first have an honorable mention. That being Greninja. Now, I know a lot of people are crying, those big babies, Greninja should be number 1. Hear me out. What's the coolest part about Greninja? Ash Greninja. Ash Greninja only applies to Ash's Greninja. It doesn't apply to every Greninja. So because of that, it's just simply an honorable mention. Ash Greninja might be the coolest thing we ever saw in the Pokemon anime. No question about that in my mind. Some people might debate that with some other things. But Ash Greninja is only Ash's Greninja. It's not every Greninja. That is why Greninja sits there as just simply an honorable mention. But let's move on now into the actual top 10 list. At number 10, we have Lucario, the Aura Pokemon. Literally in the name itself, Lucario's the Aura Pokemon. It has a move, its signature move. No, not Kamehameha. Aura Sphere. It has the connection with the aura, with its trainers. We saw it in the Lucario movie that made everyone think Lucario was a legendary Pokemon. We saw it in Journeys with Ash and his Lucario. We see the aura just simply radiating off of Lucario. You can see it in this image. Lucario is the aura Pokemon. Although, I do put it down at number 10 because I believe there are other Pokemon that have more aura than the Pokemon known as the Aura Pokemon. Yes, you heard that correctly, and we'll get into one of them right here. Number 9, Regigigas, the Continent Puller. Let me say that again. The Continent Puller. This dude grabbed the continents, the big land masses of the world, all your favorite regions, took some rope, lassoed them like they were some cow or a horse and he was some cowboy, throws the rope around his shoulder, and got up and just started walking. And laid out the Pokemon regions we know today. The Continent Puller is one of the hardest names I've ever heard in my life. Regigigas deserves to be here at number 9. The Continent Puller, the one that made the regions and landscape we know Pokemon for today, sits there at number 9. Number 8, my boy, Slaking. Why is Slaking number 8? You might be thinking, Slaking's dumb, it has Truant and only can attack every other turn. They had to nerf me. Slaking was so good, they had to nerf it. It is the only Pokemon that has the same base stat total as the box legendaries of its generation, and it's just a normal Pokemon you can obtain normally through the game. They literally had to nerf Slaking with a stupid ability like Truant, making it so it can attack every other turn because it was so good. It was on par with Kyogre and Groudon, the gods of the land and the gods of the sea. Slaking, the big gorilla, was on par with them. So they had to nerf him because he was too strong. That's why big boy Slaking sits there at number 8. And number 7, this one might be a fan favorite. I don't even know if it's a fan favorite or not because I see people talk about this thing all the time, and I honestly can't even tell if people love this thing or hate this thing. But it's Incineroar, the GOAT. What's it the GOAT of? Competitive Pokemon. Incineroar is the GOAT of competitive Pokemon. It is a nightmare for VGC players around the globe. I've never actually played VGC in an actual competitive level, but I always look at Incineroar, I think, this thing is so cool because it's a starter Pokemon that's the best Pokemon of all time. No, it's not some stupid broken legendary or some dumb mythical Pokemon with some magical form. No. A basic starter Pokemon everybody has the opportunity for obtaining at the very beginning of their journey in Alola, in Gen 7, in Sun and Moon. Incineroar is a Pokemon you can pick at the start of that. And that Pokemon is the one that is the best Pokemon of all time competitively. That is why I have Incineroar at number 7. Incineroar sends shivers down the spines of VGC players nonstop. Every time this thing gets added back into the competitive format, completely changes the landscape of the game. Incineroar, the GOAT, sits there at number 7. Number 6, Ultra Necrozma. And as it says, just look at the picture. Just look at this picture right here. We have Ultra Necrozma in a 1v5. You might be thinking, what is he, 1v5ing 5 starters? 5 fossil Pokemon? Maybe 5 pseudo-legendaries? That would be crazy. No. Ultra Necrozma is 1v5ing some of the biggest, baddest Pokemon of all time. The 2-box legendaries of Kalos in Gen 6, Xerneas and Yveltal. Mewtwo, Ho-Oh, and Rayquaza. Ultra Necrozma is 1v5ing Xerneas, Yveltal, Mewtwo, Ho-Oh, and Rayquaza. That is insane. You might be thinking, PokePlayer, you're an idiot. That's some stupid fan art. This is an official image released by the Pokemon Company themselves. They literally made this image to show everyone, yeah, this is how cracked Ultra Necrozma is. It's that broken and OP. Now you might be thinking, oh, Eternatus is probably on here as well. Eternatus is some big sissy. I hate that stupid thing. No way it's ever getting anywhere near a list like this. But this image alone, as it says, just look at the picture. This is why Necrozma here is at number 6 on the list. And now, let's get on into the top 5. At number 5, we have Garchomp, Cynthia's ace. Garchomp alone deserves to be here on the list. Look how insane this thing looks. Might be one of the best Pokemon designs of all time. I personally would say this is a Pokemon design that I would label as a perfect design. There's only a handful of designs that I think are absolutely perfect that I wouldn't change in any way. One being Dragapult, another one being Big Boy Snorlax. You could throw Rayquaza in there. Greninja I'd probably throw in there as well. Garchomp is one that I think is an absolutely perfect design. And this thing struck fear into millions across the world for years and years and years, and still to this day does so, with it being Cynthia's ace Pokemon. When you hear that music playing, you see Cynthia send out that Garchomp, you know you're going to be in for one, and majority of the time, you're getting clapped because Cynthia's Garchomp's one of the biggest, baddest Pokemon of all time. And also, too, I will note, in the Masters 8 tournament in Journeys in the Anime, one of the most underrated battles of all time and coolest battles of all time is Cynthia's Mega Garchomp going toe-to-toe with Iris's Haxorus. That looked so sick. That battle gave big props to Haxorus, but dude, Cynthia's Garchomp in general, one of the most aura Pokemon of all time. That's why it sits here at number 5. And at number 4, we have a personal favorite of mine. Big Boy Charizard! We had to have Charizard on this list. No way we couldn't include Charizard on this list. And I mean, just look at the Charizards on this screen right now. Up in the top, it says Red, Ash, Leon, Alon. Red's Charizard. How iconic and insane is that thing? Red's Charizard. I mean, I don't even need to explain that. Alon's Charizard. The Mega Charizard X we saw take down Ash Greninja in the finals of the tournament. And then the undefeated champion, what was his ace Pokemon? Oh yeah, it was a Charizard. Charizard is absolutely insane. Characific Valley should have been an honorable mention in the top 10 most aura locations in Pokemon. I failed to include it there. I completely forgot about including that there. But Charizard deserves to be here. Mega Charizard X, my favorite Pokemon design of all time. Charizard just radiates aura. If you tell someone, oh, have you heard of Pokemon? They say, no, not really. But you know what? I know who Charizard is. Even people that don't even think they know much about Pokemon know who Charizard is. The base set Charizard card, most iconic TCG card of all time. Charizard is at number 4 for the top 10 most aura Pokemon. And now we get into the top 3. And at number 3, we've got a big bad boy right here. Giratina, the banished one. The one that was sent to its own world the distortion world, the devil, you could say, of the Pokemon world, the opposite of Arceus, the god of Pokemon himself, Arceus, whatever you want to call it, Bidoof, we can all agree on that. Giratina got sent down to its own world and is known as the Banished One. I mean, don't even need to explain anymore after that. Giratina is absurd. But at number 2, we have a Pokemon that is a level above even Giratina in terms of aura it radiates. And that's Rayquaza, the first Mega Evolution, the only one that can quell the battles between the god of the land and sea, Kyogre and Groudon. Rayquaza pulls up to these two goons fighting and makes it look like Rayquaza is the parent stopping two little siblings from going at it with each other. This thing right here is insane. The green lizard dragon of the sky, the thing that pulled out more people to go play Pokemon Go Fest in 2023 than I had ever seen people playing Pokemon Go, even during 2016 when many look at it as saying its peak. Rayquaza is him. The second most valuable Pokemon card of all time that can be pulled out of a pack is Gold Star Rayquaza, and it's second only to base set Charizard. Mega Rayquaza is, by many accounts, the best Mega Evolution there is. Mega Rayquaza was also, as it says right here, the first Mega Evolution there ever was. Shiny Rayquaza is one of, if not the best shiny Pokemon of all time. And who doesn't love Rayquaza, Rayquaza, however you want to call it? No one's denying the aura this thing has. But there is one Pokemon that has more aura than this. There is one Pokemon that stands above every Pokemon there has ever been. There's well over 1,000 Pokemon we have now. And there's one Pokemon that stands above them all as being the Pokemon with the most aura. The one that stands at number 1 on this list. Mr. Aura himself. Mewtwo. Mewtwo is on a different level. Mewtwo dropped one of the hardest quotes of all time. I might mess this up. Forgive me if I do. It is not the circumstances of one's birth that determines something with their life. It is what they do with the gift of life that determines their worth, or something along the lines of that. I'll put on the screen real quick the actual quote from Mewtwo himself from the Pokemon movie. You look at that quote, bring that to your English teacher or something like that, and they'll go crazy. Oh my God, this is one of the best quotes you've ever heard. Let's spend the next 15, 20 minutes talking about this quote. You'll be talking about this quote for 15, 20 minutes in your class, and you won't even tell your teacher where it's from. Then she asks you, hey, little Billy, where'd you get this quote from for this discussion today in class? And you tell her Mewtwo, everybody's jaws would be on the floor. Like, Mewtwo said this? And you just be sitting there like, yeah. Mewtwo said this. Every time you see this thing, whether it be in the anime, in the cards, in the movies, in the games, it is just, you just get shivers down your spine. It's a different level of encounter when you see Mr. Aura himself, Mewtwo. And that is why Mewtwo is number 1 on the list. And that is all for my list of the top 10 Pokemon with the most aura. If you agree or disagree with my list, if I forgot some Pokemon or you think there's some Pokemon that should not be on here whatsoever, let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure you're subscribed, and thanks for watching.